You know when the MCs after lunch sometimes make you do jumping jacks or like other food coma prevention? We're going to do that, except I actually hate jumping jacks or like making the audience do that. So we're going to do a cruel social experiment instead. So I've been feeling pretty nervous about this talk this morning. This was my tweet. A lot of people were expressing support, and I like that. But what we're going to do is I'm asking you to yell at me, yes, this is the end. But I will leave it up to you. You can say, yes, this is the end, or you can say, you'll do great. We're going to do on 3, and then everyone's going to yell as loud as you can. Okay, so go through your mind. I am truly asking it. I want commiseration, not optimism or support here. So, okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I did not hear a single word. I don't know what happened there. I appreciate the support, whether it was optimistic or commiserating with me. My talk is helping governments and nonprofits with our coding superpower. So 6 months ago, I quit my job. I had a comfy tech job, and I quit and started a nonprofit that's called Just Utah Coders. I didn't know what I was doing then. I still don't know what I'm doing. And this talk, we're going to go over some of the experiences that I've had, including interacting with nonprofits, interacting with the government. There's a panic attack involved during part of it, if that intrigues you. However, we're going to start with this, actually. So this has nothing to do with my talk, besides here's some open source that I maintain and think is cool. So if my talk is not going to be super technical, but one thing that I think is really going to change the way that we do front-end web is import maps. So go look them up. That's all I really wanted to say. Here's some other projects that I help maintain on GitHub. Okay, so we're back to this, nonprofit stuff. Comunidades Unidas is a nonprofit local to Utah. That's Spanish. That means United Communities. And Comunidades Unidas is a group that myself and others from Just Utah Coders have been working with for about 7 months or something. And they're awesome. I absolutely love them. We have ended up building them a CRM to help with their reporting, their transparency, measuring their impact, and also for efficiency, integrating with other systems that they have to interface with. And I wanted to show a lot of people, the feedback that I hear is, well, just like, how do I get involved in something like this? So let's say I do have some kind of thing I believe in or I'm passionate about. How do I even get involved? Here is my email to them. So I went to cuutah.org/contact. I filled out their contact form, cold email. At the time, the nonprofit did not exist. It was a few volunteers that had been meeting for a while. So I'm here to say that cold emails work sometimes. You don't need to have a connection. And here's the response. This is the executive director of Comunidades Unidas, Luis Garza. He's great. Just says, yep, let's do it. So since then, we met, and we've been meeting once every 2 weeks for the last 6 months. And we have been building them a CRM. So I'm going to show you that CRM. I'm also going to show you like a little bit more about Comunidades Unidas and some fun stories of what has happened as part of that. So let me switch here. So here is a list of all of the programs and services that Comunidades Unidas provides to the Latin American community in Utah. Preventive health, nutrition, so SNAP is food stamps, immigration, anything from citizenship to DACA. So they have some people who are certified to do some immigration stuff for you. They also partner with a legal firm that can do some of the other stuff. Workers, wait, did I skip one? Yeah, financial education and coaching. They'll set financial goals for you, with you, and follow up on them with you. Workers' rights, whether you're documented or not as an immigrant, what are your rights in the workplace? Family support, so the LDS Church or the Mormon Church will give out food if you have these vouchers, so they'll get you those vouchers. If you need to send a fax to a government entity in 2019, they will do that. Community engagement and organizing, so they run a youth group, teenagers just meeting once a month, doing a youth group. It's awesome stuff. When I go to their office, I'm always just impressed at how many people are walking in, and how deeply they're integrated into the Utah system. So an example of this is if you call 311 in Utah, it's the information line, sometimes I think it's 411. If you call that and you start speaking Spanish, they'll actually just forward you on to CU, Comunidades Unidas. Because they know, here's a group that's at the center of the Latin American community here in Utah. CU doesn't get paid for that or anything. In fact, they wish that they could not have to take on that work. But they're just I've just been impressed. Just been impressed with them. So what have we built? Let's go back. So it turns out that their donors require that they give their data to the donors in exchange for the money. So they have 4 or 5 different databases that they have to enter the information into, one for each of the donors. And so one of the big things is making it so they don't have to type in all the information 5 times. Another thing is that their internal reporting is paper, 100%. So internal reporting as a nonprofit is money. Transparency, impact, measuring that is donations. So new donors, keeping existing donors. One of their big metrics is how many people did we spend 6 or more hours with this quarter or this year? And so, it's 700. That's a made-up number, but calculating that number is going through filing cabinets. And they've just got tons of paper. And so what we've built here is, it is a React application. We have a way for them to add in their clients. What we did is we took their paper intake sheet, exact same questions in a web form. And then we took, so that's this add a client feature. Then there's add an interaction. We actually launched this just on Monday of this week. So interactions is anytime that anytime that CU provides a service for anybody. You capture it here, put in how much time you spent, what did you do, and that is a game changer for them. So it started out as maybe now we've got a 6th database that we have to add our information into. But now they don't want it to go away. In fact, they want it to be improved. They've embraced it. And this report and issue feature has been fun. One of the fun stories for me as one of the developers working on the project is, so this here will create a GitHub issue. You just type it in, creates a GitHub issue. I'm on GitHub a lot. I'll see it, I'll email you, we'll figure it out. they've never had access to a software developer ever. So what you do is you buy a CRM, or like you get Salesforce or something, some other CRM, and like it doesn't quite fit, like the manager says you have to use it, and then you like struggle with it and you hate it. So like the ability to even have any say in what your software is a gigantic change. And one of my favorite things that was reported through this was, the button is not working. So that's the description that they gave us. The button is not working. And often other ones are in Spanish, and then got to figure that out. But shockingly, we actually did figure out which button was not working, and we fixed it. Then we emailed them. So it turned out to be, if you go through this whole add a client functionality, at the very end is a button that is called add client. And that was the button that was not working. And so here it is right there, confirm. That was the button that was not working. We were like, we don't have that many buttons, right? There's only like maybe 6, so. And we did actually have some error logs once we dug in deeper. So yeah, this is what we've built with them. We also have done, so like we're taking them through the tech world's way of doing product research, product requirements, user experience, stuff like that. Here's our launch phases. So phase 1, phase 2, we launched phase 2 just on Monday, phase 3 and phase 4. We also have, like, we just said, what ideas do you have about what this system could become? We have a document for that where they write that down. And so lead management was one proposal for what phase 4 might be. But yeah, we're just taking them through, meeting once every 2 weeks, and yeah, trying to make it happen. So yeah, I wanted to pause here before moving on and just say that you can do this kind of thing. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 steps that you can even write down if you like writing things down about how you can do it. I'm going to do, that was sort of a deep dive into one of our projects. We have 4. Here are 2 of our other ones. We're going to do a shallow dive here into these other ones. So the origins of this was about a year and a half ago. I started meeting with a couple of my friends once a week over dinner or brunch. We had the vague notion of the criminal justice system as like what we were thinking we would get involved in. And we would meet at Tony Burger. It's down on 4th. We're at 400 South for non-Utahns. And it's shockingly good for like a fast food burger chain, but shake's really good, veggie burger's really good. And we just started hashing things out. Expungements, so the one on the left here is expungements, Utah expungements. Let's do the shallow dive there. So an expungement is the process, the government process of clearing your criminal record. So clearing your criminal record is how you pass a background check. Passing a background check is how you get a job. Or even housing, renting an apartment. So I have a friend whose brother, 10 years ago, drug addiction problem, broke into his own parents' house to get their credit card. They called the cops, didn't realize it was their son, told the cops we don't want to press charges. District attorney says we're pressing charges anyway. Public defender isn't able to get it down from a felony to a misdemeanor. So he's got a felony 10 years ago. And 10 years later, in Utah County, which is about 30 minutes south from here, he has applied to 75-ish apartment complexes and just says, I'm not going to pass your background check, but like, would you consider someone with a felony? And like, I'll talk to you about, no. So he has not found anything to live. So your criminal record really is your economic livelihood, your economic opportunity. Like maybe even if you're in the position where you can influence your own company's background check, like procedures, think about the human being behind these background checks. The process for getting a background check is like pay $25 and wait either 10 minutes or a day. The process for clearing your criminal record is $200 per conviction and 6 to 18 months. You will fill out somewhere around 10 government forms. So it's not easy to overcome a mistake from your past. What we're looking at right here is the steps required to get an expungement. It was hard to even figure out what these steps were. We have actually a really good connection within the Salt Lake County government who's able to help us find this. Lawyers don't know this, let alone someone with a criminal record. So we have a website called utahexpungements.org where it provides educational content and then also allows you to fill out the PDF forms through a web form. So earlier this year, Utah passed a law that says all misdemeanors are automatically going to be expunged electronically without anybody having to be involved. Not even consent. We're just getting rid of a whole bunch of criminal records. It's great. However, the Utah courts are the people who are implementing it from a software standpoint, and they got about half as much money as they thought they needed. And so they're not sure if they're going to be able to implement it on time or at all. And so Just Utah Coders, we offered, and I don't know if it will go anywhere, likely won't, but we offered saying, we'll just give you a developer. Maybe even two. Like, they'll go to your office, they'll work on site with you, and work on your code base, whatever is needed to make it. Because this is, one day, tens of thousands of people will just have, a lot of people think I went to drug court, I'm fine. But I did everything that the judge asked me, and then you're not fine. Okay, so that's expungements. Next one is OpenMRS. We're back to the panic attack. This is a bit of a bait and switch kind of title. OpenMRS is an open source project used in dozens of countries by hundreds of implementers and thousands or even millions of people in thousands of hospitals and health clinics. So it's a medical record system. It's called an EMR, electronic medical record. And so they reached out to me because of single SPA micro front ends. And I got involved. We formed a micro front end squad, 7 members from 5 countries in, I think, 5 time zones. We meet once a week. And we're trying to take their software system from a JSP, Java, Tomcat, MySQL 5.6, sort of circa 2003 type of application, to client-rendered single-page app with some React and maybe some of the other frameworks too. And that's very hard for a variety of reasons. But long story short is I ended up in Kenya. So this is a picture of me in Eldoret, Kenya, for 3 weeks. One of those weeks was a hackathon with 30 developers from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And we're just teaching them React, essentially, single-page app, client rendering. We're no longer doing JSPs and jQuery. And I did have a panic attack. Won't get too far into that story. Yeah, I'm not an expert in mental health or anything, but getting involved in these kinds of things has challenged me in a lot of ways. And there was a moment during this hackathon where I just had to leave that room and get out of there, and the things crossing my mind were wild. It has challenged, it's pushed me. It's not hard. This next slide shows you my work-life balance steadily deteriorating. And so you can see around March is when I quit my previous job. Weekend work starts immediately and only sort of gets worse, honestly. So I've brought on some interns. We have a bit of funding, so we're able to hire some interns. And that was a whole fun process, like getting involved with entry level, right out of a boot camp, candidates. I post at 6:30 p.m. in a Slack channel saying, internship, 30 candidates before Monday. Thought I would have to repost because it was Friday at 6:30 p.m. And taking them through an interview process, I gave each of them individualized feedback on their code and on their code review of my code. Yeah, it's been a ride. Made them all build a dog rates knockoff application. Let me show you maybe the winner. Hold on. So We Rate Dogs is a Twitter account. So you can view a dog. It's on a scale from 10 to 16 that you can rate. And you can see, like here, all the dogs that I've rated. Pretty high quality thing. I didn't expect this kind of thing, I guess, to differentiate yourself when there are 30 candidates. Some people went above and beyond. Yeah, okay, we're running out of time here. We're gonna do the steps for how to get involved, and then we're gonna wrap up. So, step one, find something that you believe in or are passionate about. It can be vague. So if you have something specific, that's good. If you have something vague, that's okay too. For me, it was criminal justice system, very vague. There was a book, there were other things that got me involved. Step two, schedule like 60 to 90 minutes on your calendar recurring. That's going to be hard, so do it over dinner or brunch or something. You do have to eat. Make one of your eats that week doing this. Step three, find one other person who will show up. Most important qualification is that they will show up. And then step four is have your first meeting. Your first meeting is what the hell are we doing? Your second meeting is the same thing, and you just keep on doing that the whole time. Send out cold emails, do whatever it takes, get it done. This is possible. You don't have to quit your job. I have here, you don't have to have a neck beard. You don't have to go to Kenya and have a panic attack. There is so much work that can be done in so many areas. Whatever you want, really, but there's so much work that could be done. And you really can get involved. I'm gonna wrap up here with Comunidades Unidas would love a donation, of course. Nonprofits do depend on that. React Rally asked us as speakers who we wanted to donate to. That's who I chose. We also accept donations, Just Utah Coders. This is my Twitter. There's my email and some other links. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.